I'm standing here with David M Levy today, and you just had a presentation about how and why we create attention in the fast world. So I was kind of wondering, what is the fast world?
I think the fast world is the world that most of us are living in, where we're on our devices all the time, and we travel a lot, and we're very, very busy. I mean, I can't speak to Norwegian society as much as I know American society, but so many Americans that I know are rushing around all the time, and often so busy that they don't have time to think, even in universities.
Yeah, that was my next question, then. Why does the fast world need to be better at thinking, reading, and writing?
Well, it's really a question of what we think it is to be human. What are the qualities that we really want to have as human beings? I happen to be somebody who thinks that to live a better life, we need to actually be reflective and pay attention to what we're doing. In order to live an ethical and a moral life, we need to observe ourselves and make changes to our lives. And if we're so busy and rushing around all the time that we're not even really noticing what we're doing, we may make a lot of mistakes. We may not be as kind or even as effective as we ought to be. So I'm somebody that believes that education, part of the role of education is to help us to reflect on ourselves in order to be better people.
And you also said that you use mindfulness in the classroom.
That's right.
Why?
Mindfulness, well, first of all, what do we mean by that? Really, at heart, mindfulness just means being present, being aware. And it's easier to understand what mindfulness isn't, because I think a lot of the time many of us are very distracted. When somebody talks to us, we're not even really listening very carefully, or even when we're online, we're only half paying attention. I happen to believe that to live a full and meaningful and a good life, it's helpful to be more present. When we're eating our food, to really taste it. When we're talking to our friends or our family, to really be listening to them. And when we're reading or studying, to really be paying attention. So mindfulness as a practice is just one of many different ways to train and teach people to actually be more aware and more present.
So your students are sitting and paying attention to their breaths then?
We do a variety of exercises in the classroom, and the most basic one is exactly what you described. It's you sit, you pay attention to the quality of your breathing, and then when you notice your mind drifting, you're thinking about something else, or you're wondering about the future, or you're worried about something, when you notice your mind slipping away, you come back to the breathing, and you just keep coming back again and again. It's a very simple mindfulness technique, but it's not easy, because you quickly discover when you try to do this that your mind is bouncing all over the place.
But why is this important?
Well, why is it important to be more mindful and more present? What I just said a moment ago. I mean, it's that I think that we are more alive and we are more fully experiencing our lives when we're present to it. I mean, think about all the good food that we potentially eat. I mean, those of us who are lucky enough to have a lot of good food, but I suspect that a lot of us don't even really taste our food very well because we're thinking about something else. So if we have great food, let's enjoy it. And if we're in relationships with people that matter to us, let's be really present to them.
And you also said that you didn't want to give people advice, but in some way it's guidelines, sort of, the way I understood it.
Right, so let me make a distinction there. I mean, obviously, what I'm not trying to do is tell people how they should use their digital devices. In other words, I'm not telling anybody how much time they should spend online or what they should do. But the part where I am teaching is I'm teaching about mindfulness. That is the core practice that we're using as a lens to observe our digital practices. And really what I'm arguing is that if you become more mindful and more aware of the way you use your phone or your laptop or your tablet, that you will make discoveries that for you allow you to use them better. But of course, I can't prove that to you. I could only take you through this work, and then you would decide for yourself whether or not you think it's working. But of course, you know, I've had 10 years of students doing this work, and for those students, they find it very meaningful and very real. But I wouldn't try to convince you of it if you didn't want to do it. I would
Yeah.
never. I would never try to convince anybody of what I'm trying to say. All I can really say is, try this, and you decide.
Okay, that was all. Thank you for the talk.
You're very welcome.